Hi, my name is Josephine Lang, and I'd like to share with you a couple of stories about how our deceased loved ones can help us. The first one was told to me by a dear friend of mine, and she's an elderly lady now, and she said that one of her sons, in fact, her favorite son, passed away some years ago. And she was just bereft because though she loved her other sons as well, equally as well, this one was so dear to her heart because he always knew how to make her laugh. And he always brought her such joy in her life to spend time with him. And then he passed rather suddenly, and she was really so sad. She just couldn't believe it. And she found herself crying herself to sleep every night. And one night, while she was in bed, shortly after he had died, she awoke in the middle of the night and sensed a rather bright light at the foot of the bed. And she came to her consciousness, rose up out of sleep, and there she saw her son standing at the foot of the bed. And he was so sad looking, and she couldn't understand why he was so sad. And she said to him, why are you so sad? You're supposed to be happy. You're in heaven. And she immediately got the understanding that the reason why he was sad was because she was so sad. And as soon as she got that understanding, he faded away and disappeared. And then she went back to sleep, and she woke up the next day and she realized that he had come to her for a very important reason, which was to tell and to communicate to her that we need to enjoy our lives, we need to live our lives, and we need to love our lives. And so that message was a very profound one for her, and it really changed the way that she felt, and she healed herself from her grief, and she moved on to love her life again and to embrace her life with joy. Isn't that a beautiful story? I just love it. And the other one happened to me, and this happened some 10 or 15 years, maybe 20 years ago now. And my uncle had passed away, and he was a very dear friend to our family. He was always full of laughs and jokes and teased us kids, and we had such a good time with him. And my older brother was supposed to call me and inform me of his death and of the memorial service that was going to be happening on the weekend. He was supposed to call me when they had settled their plans earlier in the week. But with all the hubbub of the moment, he forgot, and I lived a couple of 100 miles away from where the memorial would be, actually about 5 hours drive. And it was a morning memorial service. It was going to take place at about 10 in the morning in San Diego, and I was to make this drive to get there, and I found out about it on Friday afternoon, and it was going to be happening on Saturday morning. So I began all my preparations to get ready to leave. I had just put in a garden. I had to arrange for a friend to come and water, because little baby seedlings need watering sometimes twice a day in the hot weather, and I had all kinds of other preparations I had to do, and getting clothing ready and things, and so my husband and I, both of us, worked on getting ready to make our departure early in the morning to be gone for the weekend, to spend time with the family. And we didn't get into bed until about 2 in the morning, and we were going to be having to get up at about 4 in the morning in order to get out the door on time to make the drive to arrive at the memorial on time. And so I was lying in bed, and I was just so keyed up from the events of the day and hurrying to get ready that I was practically buzzing in bed. And as I was laying there, I apparently didn't have my eyes fully closed, and I was in that hypnagogic state, that place where you're neither fully asleep nor fully awake. And I became aware of a light right next to me, just like 2 feet away from my face, right beside my bed, as I was laying on my bed on my side, right near the edge of the bed. And as I began to realize this in my consciousness, I sort of rose up out of that sleep state, and I realized that it was my uncle, and it was just his bust, it was just his chest and his face, and he was floating there right beside me, and he had the most beautiful smile on his face. And he had his little tweed cap on that he used to play golf in, and his tweed jacket, and he was just beaming at me, just smiling, and just waiting for me to wake up. And then when I came to more full consciousness and awakeness, I thought, Uncle Vernon? And I got up and I propped my head up on one elbow and I looked at him. I was like, I was about to ask, what are you doing here? And he said to me, you kids stay home. He said, I know that you loved me. And with that, he faded away. And I was so perplexed by the moment. I thought, what was that about? And then I realized he said for us to stay home. And I was so sleepy and so confused in the moment that I just reached over to Frank, my husband, and I said, "Turn off the alarm, we're not going." And so he did, and we slept through. And we woke up shortly before the memorial service in the morning, and I called my aunt and my cousin and I said, we're not coming. I had a visit from Uncle Vernon last night, and he told us to stay home. And I realized afterwards that, when you try to drive, when you are sleep deprived, it's almost as bad as driving under the influence of a lot of alcohol. And I thought, he saved our lives and probably the lives of other people on the highway that day, because we very probably would have dozed off at the wheel even though we were young and athletic and all of that. Still, when you're sleep deprived, you don't make a good driver. And I'm so grateful to my Uncle Vernon, because I really do feel that he saved our lives that day and probably the lives of others by just letting us know, it's okay. I know that you loved me. You kids stay home. So thank you very much for listening to these 2 stories, and I hope that they have brought some peace to your heart. And my love to you. And please check out my website. It's stepintomagic.com. Blessings and light to you. Bye for now.